if you're a fan of Final Fantasy, you might want to actually own the games. Now, I know you get into a whole debate with certain people online who hate physical media who will say, no, you own you own the license on the disc to play the game. I get it. You don't own the intellectual property, but you might actually want to buy a disc of the game. Hey, you know what? Maybe you prefer digital, and that's your choice. I think Nate and I both prefer physical by a mile. However you collect games, however you want to play games, you should have the right to play them or collect them that way. I think everybody should be able to agree on that. And unfortunately, the way that Square Enix released Final Fantasy, the Pixel Remaster collection, back about a year ago, I would say, so like April 2023-ish, it doesn't really seem like they agreed with that at all. It was such a botched launch with almost no availability for the PlayStation 4 platform that now the prices have skyrocketed to $2,000 in a lot of cases. I mean, looking through these, and I can show you some pictures of them. $3,000, starting bid $500, $1,250, $3,000, $5,000 because it's CGC graded, which I personally find pointless for video games, but hey, you know what?
Yeah.
Whatever. And now I will say, you can get it on the Nintendo Switch, the multi-language edition, which is not the American printing, but even the American printing of that on the Switch is still expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So Nate, I wanted to talk to you about this for a couple minutes because this is one of the most frustrating decisions to me that Square Enix has ever made that really actively made me like the company less.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, and maybe this is a me problem, but it's so frustrating to me that this has made me not really want to play these games.
Right,
like, that's how frustrating. Yeah, I haven't bought it yet, and I really don't have an interest in it. Like, I have an interest in it, but it just bothers me so much that I just haven't cared.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think that's a problem. You know, when they announced this game, it was in 2023 is when it came out. I think they announced it in late 2022 or something like that. At that time, my most desired game ever was the Mega Man Battle Network collection, which I think came out around that. I think it was late 2022 when that came out.
Also,
so I had just gotten it.
Also, games we want to talk about on this channel because they are RPGs, actually.
So I remember I had just gotten that. It was so amazing. It was so incredible. I was on the top of the world. I thought, wow, this is so amazing. I played these games when I was younger. I'm so happy they remastered them and put them in a collection.
Can you mention how hard it was to get those?
It was very hard to get those because they didn't release them properly.
From Capcom.
From Capcom, yeah. And then I remember they announced this game, and I thought, how could this get much better? Now we get Final Fantasy 1 through 6 in a remastered collection, all physically, by the way, not just digital only, but physically for the PlayStation 4, so I can get platinum trophies for them, and the Switch if people want to get that too. It's portable, awesome, great. I love this. This is so incredible. And then the release date came out and they botched it so poorly. Like, first of all, they had it online only, which that's already a problem in and of itself.
Yeah, it was never released to stores, at least in the United States.
Right.
I don't know if it was anywhere else.
Yeah. But bots bought this right up, you know, which we've all learned this years ago. I don't know why companies haven't. And then they started reselling it online for like $500, and I thought, wow, holy crap, this is expensive. I'm not spending that much money. Mm-hmm. And now since then, it's gone up to like $5,000. So I don't get why this is a thing.
Should have invested.
But the thing is, what I don't understand about this is, how is it that Square Enix sees this? Because you have to know that they are looking on eBay and seeing that. Mm-hmm. And they don't think, man, why don't we get in on some of that action? People are willing to spend $2,000 to buy this game on eBay. Why don't we print more copies of it?
What?
So we can make that money.
Right.
Like, that's such a brain dead decision to me, and it just pisses me off so much because I want this game so much. No, wait a minute, you could always buy them digitally. I want it physically.
Right, that's your preferred way to collect the game.
I don't want Square Enix in 10 years from now saying, we don't really want people to be playing Final Fantasy 1. We're going to delete it off their systems. That is a thing, by the way.
Well,
it's happened all the time with Ubisoft.
Especially in America, you know, people in the European Union will say, like, well, we have consumer protections to prevent that. Well, yes, but there are ways around your consumer protections, too. Like, if I find you violating my EULA in some way, I can ban you from my service. Yep. So these games don't require internet, but let's say hypothetically they did. Mm-hmm. Let's say they hypothetically had an anti-piracy internet check. well, then if I ban you from my service, you might not be able to use that thing. So, like, that's why people like us care so much about physical, is there is, like, unless you're going to come to my house and take it, or you don't put the full game on the cartridge or console.
Yeah, like the
disc,
Arkham Trilogy on Switch.
or even Assassin's Creed Shadows, where you need an internet connection to install it. That physical disc is going to have a 1.0 build of the game. It's good for game preservation. It's good for having the game in your house in 20 years. I have Game Boy Advance cartridges with zero problems that I don't have to rebuy digitally. That's why we like those things.
Right.
So we should be able to collect this game, provided it was made on a physical platform as well. I understand that, you know, we can want games that are digital only to be physically printed, and that's a different discussion. But provided that a game was made on both, you should have the right as a consumer to collect it on both without having to go to a reseller and pay, oh man, like 5,000% the price. Like, it's an insane price. I don't know what the exact percentage is, but like an insane markup.
It's ridiculous.
You're not paying MSRP. Like, and this isn't even a case where they were like, well, you know, physical is a little more niche. What if we charge an extra $15? It's not them doing anything like that. It's just they sold so little of it that it's $5,000 on eBay.
Right. And the thing I don't understand is how come is it still, we are recording this in 2024, so this is going to date it a little bit. How come is it that a year later we can still buy this right now? Like, I can literally go on my computer and purchase this on Play Asia for the Switch. How come you haven't made more copies of the PS4 edition?
Right.
Like, what's the point?
And I understand too that some people will say, well, you know, why don't you just buy it on the Switch? I probably eventually will.
Probably. I'm
but,
just butthurt.
Well, but for me, the thing is, like, I like my games to match, first off, to be from the same region. Secondly, I wanted to play these on PlayStation because I prefer getting trophies on PlayStation. I have tons of Switch games, but like, I mainly use Switch for exclusives. And so that was my preferred platform for Final Fantasy.
Well, especially because all the other Final Fantasies are on PlayStation.
Yeah.
I mean, there are other systems too. I know Xbox has some of them, but still.
Right. It just, I don't understand it. I don't get it. And I saw some people try and say, well, and they weren't justifying it. They were saying, hey, maybe it's kind of one of those things where Square Enix, they are printing less so that they can show their investors, look, this sold out. But even if that's the case, it's not working. Like, yes, this one sold out. Okay, Square Enix just had their stock fall more in the last few weeks than it had in like 15 years or something ridiculous, because they were reporting their grim financial outlook. They were reporting that not enough people were buying Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, something I don't understand. Great game, but oh well, people miss out, I guess. You know, they were reporting a lot of these things. And even with that, I think that part of it is that they weren't pursuing multi-platform before, where now they said that they pretty much are going to. Like, they said that they're going to start pursuing multi-platform more. You know, like Xbox, PC more than they did. Their plan already wasn't working. If their plan was like, well, let's put these things in limited quality and then it'll sell out and we'll have high stocks, why do you not have high stocks? It's not working on the corporate side, and you're pissing off, you know, passionate fans like us.
Right.
That's not helping you either. Because, like, don't you want to retain the fans you have? If you're having a hard time getting new fans who are going to buy your stuff, you really want to piss off the hardcore people you already have?
It makes no sense.
Why are you doing that?
I still see, even to this day, I'll periodically go on Square Enix's page and I'll look at all, like the Twitter page, and I'll look through all the comments, and still to this day, a year later, I see hundreds of comments saying, hey, when are you gonna print more copies of the Pixel Remastered collection? Like, fans want this. It's not that fans just forgot about it.
No.
You know, there's so many fans out there that are staring at this and they're desiring to own this game. You know, it doesn't make any sense. And even if there are other reasons, and this is the one I think it's more likely, and this is just my own personal opinion, I kind of think it's more that Square Enix wants to push digital games.
Yeah, because they get 100% of
exactly.
Well, almost 100%.
They get almost 100% of the profits.
Yeah.
It's, if you buy a digital game, they get everything. They don't have to share money with retailers or anything like that.
They're only sharing it with the platform it's on.
Yes.
Like, say it's on Steam or Nintendo or PlayStation. And
Yep.
I believe the cut that they're giving them is far less than they give, like, Target or Walmart.
Right. So I think it's mainly, and again, just my opinion, that they're going to print so little copies on the PlayStation 4 so that it becomes like a collector's item, and their hope is, oh boy, then this is going to look really good for us. But then their other opinion is saying, hey, why don't you buy it digitally?
Right.
It's $15 over there. Yeah, that's cheap.
And I understand that, but my question to you and to them about that would be, then why don't you just make it an online exclusive to your website and just print waves of them every 3 to 6 months, and then you're making that money, and you're making the money off the digital people who don't want to wait or don't care.
Well, and I'm even of the same opinion of don't make any copies, have it be a pay-to-order thing. Mm-hmm. Have it on your website. If someone wants to buy the Final Fantasy, the Pixel Remaster collection for the PS4, you click buy, you pay them. You could even pay them a little bit, a more. I don't even care. But you pay them money for it, and then they say, okay, just this week alone, we had 10,000 people purchase this game. Let's print out 10,000 copies right now. Yeah. And then we'll ship them out.
So you're saying you want it like limited run games, but without the closed time window of like 30 days.
You can just buy it.
Right.
And I understand it'll take them a while to print it onto a disc and everything.
And it'll cost you more.
And they could even write that into their clause of saying, we have to print this on a disc. The game's already done. All we have to do is put it on the disc. This is going to take a little while. It could take a couple months. It's like, okay, well then at least fans can get the game. Mm-hmm. You know, instead of just saying, well, let's make 1,000 copies for the PlayStation 4 and that's it.
I hate advocating for this, but I also think too, like, I'm going to sound like microtransactions here on microtransactions, but I feel like you could kind of do it in a way too where if you're special ordering it, you know how like there are people who will pay more to get a steelbook of a movie they really love, even though the only difference is the case?
Yeah.
People being you and me.
Yep.
And so like maybe that movie will be $37 instead of 29 or 28 or 25 or whatever, and so they'll buy that special edition. Mm-hmm. Why couldn't you just do that with this? Like if you want the digital, it's $40, but if you want the physical, it's $60. Right. That sucks, but at least you have the option to play and own the game the way you want, because there are more people like us out there than they think. There are a lot of people who still do care about this stuff. Yes, they're not the majority anymore. A lot of people have been kind of worn down to the point where they don't care. And I get that, but there are more people out there that do care about this stuff than these companies act like there are.
And I do 100% believe that if you made both versions as readily accessible as possible as each other, I think they would get more sales than what they think would happen physically. Mm-hmm. You know, for example, the Mega Man Battle Network thing, a botched release physically.
Yep.
You know, literally just a failed release. I don't know what even happened, but it was not available anywhere.
And to straight up just explain that really quick, GameStops were getting 3-4 copies maximum, and most of them were pre-order accounted for.
And we talked to the employees about this.
Yeah, one of the employees
told us this.
One of the employees said that in the entire country there was something like less than 30 that weren't accounted for by pre-orders at that time.
Yep. And this was like the day of or the next day it came out.
Yep.
So the thing is, if you actually made that readily accessible to people, you could look at it and go, well, look at all these digital sales we got for this game. It's like, well, yeah, that's because no one could buy the physical sales of it, and then people aren't freaks like us, so they waited for it. So they went home and they purchased it digitally. Mm-hmm. You know, other games that came out, like the Metroid Prime Remastered game. Again, a botched release of it. A lot of people went home and they bought it digitally because they couldn't purchase it physically. You know, same with this. They could look at this and go, look all of the sales we got for this digitally. Yeah, people love digital. It's like, or is it people were willing to buy it digitally because they couldn't get it physically?
Right.
Like, I don't understand this. If people are willing to spend $2,000 on eBay for this game, make more copies.
Right, because those are selling.
Exactly.
It's not like they don't
people are buying
sell.
them. It's not like these are listings. It's not like these are listings and they've been on there for a year. They're sold copies of this game for like $1,000 to $3,000.
Yep.
Make more copies. People want the game. And people are still want the physicals of these games.
Well, let's just say it this way too. You know, to kind of round it out, our whole point is not physical better, even though we do think that. Our point is not that, like, oh, if you buy digital, you're a pleb.
Right.
You're obviously in the majority if you buy digital. Mm-hmm. And to me, that's disappointing. But I also understand there's a lot of countries where it's actually cheaper to buy a digital copy on, like, the PlayStation Store than to have to order a copy.
Yeah.
I get that. But here's my thing. Our advocacy if you can even call it that, is that people should be able to buy and enjoy the game the way they want to. Not that it shouldn't exist digitally. Our point isn't pull it off digital storefronts and make it physical only. Our point is consumer choice. Allow the person who is buying these things and paying Square Enix's bills, by the way, or not, when you lose a ton of money, which they are, let those people pay your bills the way they want. And that's cool. Options. Why would anyone ever argue against customer options?
I don't get it.
I have never understood that in my life, unless it's something that is so inconvenient for the business that it loses tons of money.
Yeah.
That is the only time I understand it. But we're moving more and more like away from customer options to like, no, I'm the business. I say what you get. Take your table scraps, you little bitch.
And so many people are like, yeah, awesome, cool.
Yes, sir. Yes,
I hate physical so much. Yeah.
Please, daddy company, give me your little, your consumer loan.
And I've never understood this. It's like, who in the world gets mad about options? Like, how dare you buy that game physically? It's like, yeah, so I bought it physically. We're both playing the game.
Well, you can't with this one.
Like it does. Well, yeah, exactly. It's like, I don't know. I get so angry when it comes to the Pixel Remastered collection.
I know, this is like your white whale. This is like your Moby Dick. And
it
this
is.
White whale.
It is, literally. And I just don't, I'm so disappointed. And like I said, it's actively made to the point where I haven't even bought these games. It's been a year since this released. I haven't purchased it. And I have no intention of purchasing it anytime soon.
Right.
I just don't care.
Yeah.
Now, if I bought it physically, I would really care about them.
I mean, I'm not even...
But I'm just so disappointed about it that I don't care.
I'm not even missing out on these, though, because some people would say, like, well, then you guys are missing out. I have a bunch of them on Game Boy Advance. Right. Some of those even have exclusive dungeons and stuff on them that aren't in this collection. I have some of them on Steam that I bought before this collection was even announced. I have some of the remakes of them, like the 3D remakes. So, like, it's not that I'm missing out on these games. It's just I wanted this version, and I wanted to support the company because classic RPGs are a huge passion of mine, and I literally wanted to give you some of my money that I make very little of to support this product, to say, hey, look, people still care, and you won't let me give you my money.
Right.
What kind of company doesn't let you give them your money?
I don't know.
The way that you want to buy something.
Which is why I don't understand why they don't just do made to order. If they don't want to like mass produce all these things because then they might lose money on it, fair enough, whatever. But just do a made to order. Like I said, if 10,000 people purchased it this week, you could just make 10,000 copies and give it to them. It's not that big of a deal.
Right.
That way you're not losing any money or any profit. In fact, you're gaining money.
And then you don't have to print it if no one wants it.
Exactly.
And if no one wants it, we're wrong. We get our 2 copies of it. You never have to print it again, and you lost nothing. Jill just mentioned this in the background because I know she's too far away to probably hear, but like the Nancy Drew company that makes those games, they're her interactive. People asked for a physical. They were only going to do digital. And so they made the physical made to order. And for them, they're a very small company. So they said, like, look, here's your window. I think it was like a month and a half to 2 months or something, right, Jill?
Yeah.
And they were like, this is your month and a half to 2 months. This is made to order. We're not going to be able to print it after this because we're such a small company that we can't go and get printing again.
Yeah.
But here's your window. If you want it, get it.
And that's cool.
And they gave them the option for a PC game, by the way, from a small company that is offering essentially a limited press release of it. They can do it.
Square Enix can't.
Why can't Square Enix?
I don't know.
I think it's disappointing, and like to be like overly dramatic in my final statement, I also think it's kind of disrespectful to the legacy of Final Fantasy, to these amazing games, to all the artists, developers, musicians, all these amazing people who worked on it over the years, to then take the product that they made that, yes, I know Square Enix owns and they were, paid to work on, and then say, hey, all of your hard work you made, now we're only going to make it available to people through this way, and if they don't like it, here's the finger. And it's not working for them because their stocks are down, so clearly some of their decisions are not good, and I genuinely think this is one of them. Let us know what you think in the comments down below. If you enjoyed today's video, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content. I always mention it, we do have a Fortnite code, which is DJAY123 if you want to support it. I hope they'll put Cloud Strife in the next Fortnite season. I don't think they'll ever do it, but I would love it. Maybe Tifa, a little skimpy bikini outfit, I don't know. We do have our own store, CosmoBunny.shop, where we sell fantastic, awesome comic book and manga resin pieces. These are from comic book and manga stores basically bookstores where these books are damaged. It's unfortunate people did not take care of, or they were damaged in shipping, things like that. And what we do is we save some of the art from them. We put them in these coasters, keychains, resin pieces. We turn them into something transformative for your home. We try and do it at a very affordable price, which is actually why we have the discount code DJAY123 as well for that, for 10% off your first order. These are all handmade from scratch with a lot of love. I watch Jill, my wife, make them. I even help with them, so we really appreciate these, and we're hoping that'll go somewhere eventually. We also do have handmade beaded jewelry that Jill takes commissions for over on CosmoBunny.shop, and those things are fantastic. Wonderful pieces, amazing, beautiful, brilliant, show-stopping, inspiring. You want to have a conversation piece, you put one of these on. I can't guarantee legally, I don't want to get sued, but I hypothetically guarantee that someone will stop you and say, whoa, what an amazing piece of jewelry. Where did you get that? And you can say, stop, don't touch me, and start yelling, stranger, help.
And you might even get jumped, too.
Yeah,
because they might want to steal them.
Yeah, like Martha's Pearls. They'll think it's real, but then like they'll get it off and they'll find it. I mean, a lot of it is real stones.
Hypothetically, this will happen.
Hypothetically, we might jump you.
Yeah.
So anyway, we hope you enjoy it. Have a fantastic day, and as always, everyone, stay shui.